Okay, so Mom Needs Medicaid. Nobody plans to say that sentence. Medicaid is the poverty program, welfare, and Mom worked her whole life so the word lands like the family failed her. The number says the opposite. Medicaid is the primary payer for 63% of the people in American nursing homes, not the fallback for the unlucky few, the main way this country pays for long-term care. The middle class was routed here on purpose. The system just doesn't mention it until you're holding the application. And the application opens with a rule families read twice because it can't be right the first time. To get help, Mom is allowed to keep $2,000, not per month, total to her name. Two fears walk in with that application: the house and the money she gave away while she was still herself. Both are legitimate because the state has a claim on one and a 5-year X-ray for the other. But both run on written rules, and the rules cut in more directions than the letters admit. Every trapdoor between the asset test and the letter that comes after the funeral has a lever bolted next to it in the same statute. The families who walk out whole aren't luckier than yours. They found the levers first.
The caseworker starts with the asset test. $2,000 for a single applicant, $3,000 for a couple. A figure set in 1989, the only raise the limit has ever had. If it had simply kept up with inflation from the program's birth in 1972, it would sit near $10,000 today. It doesn't because Congress never adjusted it, which means poor enough for help quietly tightens every single year without anyone voting on it. The house doesn't count while she lives. One car doesn't count. A prepaid funeral doesn't count. Nearly everything else does. Her income has its own test, and the test has a cliff. Most states cap a nursing home applicant's income to 3 times the basic Social Security disability floor, $2,982 a month in 2026, and the cap is absolute. A pension of $3,020 a month is $38 too much, and in an income cap state, that's a flat no. A woman who can't afford a $12,000 room, too rich for help with it. If Mom's number is on the wrong side of that line, stay put. Congress built a fix for exactly this cliff, and it takes about a week. And then the request that changes the family's month. Along with the application, the state wants Mom's financial records, every account, going back 5 full years, 60 months of bank statements on the kitchen table, and somewhere in that stack is every birthday check she ever wrote, the Christmas she covered a grandkid's tuition, the car she signed over to your brother. To the family, that stack is her generosity. To the auditor, it's a list of transactions to price. Who wants this application approved? Not just you. The facility's business office will often fill it in with you, and that isn't charity. The day Mom's private money runs out, she converts from the facility's best-paying customer into its discount rate. The government's own study of nursing home finances found that Medicaid pays the median facility about 82 cents for every dollar it costs to care for a Medicaid resident. And the homes staffing the most nursing hours get the worst deal, 77 cents, because the payment doesn't rise with the care. The business office can't change the rate. What it can do is get the paperwork airtight and filed fast, because a resident with an approved application is a resident the facility gets paid for at all.
And the state has its own back office. After a Medicaid recipient dies, federal law requires the state to try to get its money back from whatever's left. Iowa hands that job to a private contractor and pays it 11% of what it collects. In 1 year, that one company collected from 3,893 estates. A commissioned collector working the obituaries, not a scandal somebody uncovered, the design sitting in public documents. The state underpays the facility while Mom lives and bills her estate after she dies, and the audit between those two moments is where it makes sure the numbers hold. The audit runs on one rule called the Lookback.
The state adds up everything mom gave away or sold under market price in the 60 months before the application. It divides that total by one number, the official average monthly cost of a private nursing home bed in her state. The result is the penalty, the number of months Medicaid will refuse to pay for her care. Say the statements show $30,000 across 5 years, birthday checks, the tuition, your brother's car. In Western New York, the state's published divisor is $12,824 a month. $30,000 divided by $12,824 is 2.34 months of no coverage. And the statute says, in these words, the state shall not round down. Every fraction of a month is collected. The clock is the cruel part. The penalty does not start when the gift was made. It starts the day she's already broke, already in the facility, and already approved, the moment she would have qualified but for the penalty. The system waits until she has nothing left to pay with and starts the meter there. A gift from year 1 and a gift from year 5 land on the exact same day, her worst one. Joint accounts feed the same math. The savings account with your name on it for convenience, if any co-owner moves money out of it, the state can read that as mom's gift. The audit doesn't ask what the family meant, it prices what the records show. While the application processes, the family lives in a status that brochures don't name: Medicaid pending. The state owes an answer in 45 days, 90 if disability has to be assessed. And in that window, the bill exists but nobody is paying it, which is when facilities get creative. In Monroe County, New York, 24 licensed nursing homes filed 238 debt lawsuits in 4 years, seeking $7.6 million. And nearly 2/3 of those suits targeted not residents, but their relatives, friends, neighbors. A retiree named Lucille Brooks was sued for $7,967.05 over her brother's stay. She had never signed a thing. The case collapsed, and she believes the signature the home produced was traced from its own visitor log. And when it's over, years later, after the funeral, the state writes to the family. Fran Rule of Perry, Iowa, was a retired child care worker with Lewy body dementia, and her family did what every expert calls the loving, cheaper thing. They kept her home. A program with a gentle name, Elderly Waiver, helped pay for her care. Her daughter was her paid caregiver. The paperwork never made plain that the program was Medicaid. 4 weeks after Fran died, the letter arrived. Dear family of Francis Rule, we wish to express our sincere condolences. And then the figure, $226,613.35. The family's main asset is an 832-square-foot steel-sided house her husband bought in 1964. The county values it at $81,470. The bill is almost 3 times the house. The claim now waits for her husband to die. That letter is federal law. Every state must run in a state recovery program. And whether it lands like that on your family depends almost entirely on what happens before and during the application, starting with the first thing anyone asks you to sign. The admission agreement asks for a responsible party, and here's what you do with that page. Sign mom's name and your own only as her representative. The bill's paid from her money, not yours. If the admissions office pushes back, the sentence you need is already theirs. Federal regulation says a facility must not request or require a third-party guarantee of payment. Not require, not even request, and that a representative signs without incurring personal financial liability. So say it plainly. I'll sign as her representative, paying from her funds, nothing more. Same pen, one word of difference. The difference between handling her affairs and co-signing a nursing home bill. Every suit in that Monroe County docket started on that line. Before the application goes in, the penalty mouth runs backwards too. The same statute that prices the birthday checks says the penalty disappears to the extent that a gift comes back, and the move is a family phone call nobody enjoys and everybody survives. The $10,000 goes back into mom's account before you file, and it isn't lost. Back in her name, it's spend-down money, and the spend-down has a legal shopping list: her prepaid funeral, her debts, the roof, the ramp. The gift that would have bought a month of nobody paying buys her things instead. Gifts that were genuinely never about Medicaid, the tuition she'd paid every year for a decade long before any diagnosis, have their own defense written into the law. Transfers made exclusively for a purpose other than qualifying. Build that file now, not at the hearing. Pull the statements, mark the 10-year pattern, note the date of the diagnosis. And the pension that was $38 too much. The fix from the cliff is called a Miller Trust, a bare-bones legal account an elder law attorney opens in about a week. The excess income flows through it each month, and she qualifies. Not a loophole someone found. Congress built it in 1993 for exactly this gap. While it's pending, act like the clock is yours, because it is. File the week the money runs out, not the month after, and get a dated receipt or confirmation when you do. The state's 45-day deadline and the backward coverage both run from that date. Approval reaches back to cover up to 3 months of unpaid bills before the application, a window Congress has already voted to shrink January 2027, so filing fast is worth real dollars. She cannot be discharged for non-payment while a timely application is processing. That rule only bites if the paperwork was never filed or the claim was denied and she still won't pay. If a discharge notice comes anyway, don't argue at the nurse's station. The notice must be in writing 30 days ahead with a copy to the state's long-term care ombudsman, a public official whose job is her side. So call that office the day the notice lands, and she cannot be moved while the appeal runs. If the state blows its 45 days or denies her, the denial itself must tell you how to demand a fair hearing. Demand it. Delay alone is grounds. And if the birthday checks would leave her without care, walk into the business office and ask them to file the Undue-Hardship Waiver. The law lets the facility file it for her. The state can pay to hold her bed for up to 30 days while it's decided, and the facility wants that penalty gone as much as you do. You just have to be the one who asks. When the letter comes, do neither of the two things it's built to make you do. Don't pay it, and don't ignore it. Answer it, in writing, asking for the hardship waiver application. Every state is required to have one, and in Iowa's own numbers, 40 families asked in a year, and most got yes. Then, check the shields before you concede anything. Recovery must wait as long as her spouse is alive, or while a child of hers who is blind or disabled is living, and the house can't be touched while the sibling or caregiver child who lived there, the same residence rules from the nursing home episode, is still in it. The program's teeth are smaller than its letterhead. Nationally, a state recovery claws back about half of 1% of what Medicaid spends on this care, and Delaware and Vermont collected $0 by choice. There's a bill in Congress to abolish the whole practice. It has been introduced before and died before, so plan as if it never passes. But an heir who answers that letter with a lawyer is negotiating, not obeying. The last step isn't this video. It's an elder law attorney in her state whose flat fee is less than 1 month of the penalty clock. You now arrive with the plan instead of the vocabulary. Almost every family meets this program eventually. It's how America actually pays for growing old. If someone you love is holding this application right now, send them this before they sign anything. And if you want the rest of the system mapped before it maps you, the caregiver economy, assisted living, what dementia actually costs, subscribe. The state reads 5 years of mom's records before it decides. Spend 15 minutes reading its own.